Welcome to another episode of Sports and Discourse with your host, Derek Stevenson. And man, big win today in Rupp Arena against number 25 ranked Vanderbilt. And we needed this. Everybody knows what they did to us the first matchup. So this was kind of like a revenge game, if you will. And like I was saying, we definitely needed this win. With the last 4 games left, I was saying that I was hopeful that we could split 2-2. But if we could go 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 4, that would be wonderful. Right now, we looking good, but we need at least one more win. But this was a big one for us. Vanderbilt started off hot this year. They kind of fell off a little bit. They're 22-7 currently. But still, for us, this is a big win. And I just like the way that we played. We came out aggressive, and most importantly for me, I feel like we was handling the ball a lot better. We were making way better decisions, and that had kind of been the thing. Like, we had just not really I'll say we've been careless with the basketball, and defensively we was just making a lot of mistakes. So everything looked a little bit better today. We had some guys, they came to play. They showed up. Obviously, Oweh definitely, we needed him to get back to his old ways, and he came back with another 20-point ball game. He had a sort of disappointing offensive game against South Carolina, even though we won. He just didn't really look like himself. But today he looked more like the old Oweh that we used to. He ended up with 23 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds. He did not shoot the 3 well, but he pretty much did everything else at a high level. So we'll obviously take that. Oweh Chandler, man, I can't say enough about Oweh Chandler this season. He's been one of our most consistent players. He's hit a lot of big shots for us. He hit some big shots in this game, and he was kind of the catalyst to this game, in my opinion. He sparked us early. I think he had 12 points off of, 3 or 4 threes in the first half, something like that, or whatever it was. But he definitely early, he was giving us a big lift. He ended up with 23 points as well, 6 for 8 from 3, and 7 for 10 overall. So shouts out to Chandler. He had himself a ball game. And Denzel Aberdeen also, he played really well, man. And I know, like I said, it's been an adjustment for him. He's had to move into a position that he wasn't naturally comfortable with us not having a true point guard. Basically, him and Jasper have been shouldering that load, mostly Aberdeen. Jasper has not been playing. He's been playing about 13 to 15 minutes a game. So the other, the majority of the time, Aberdeen is shouldering that load. And Mark Pope is basically, he's got 3 or 4 guys that are going 30-plus minutes usually, and then, some guys like Moreno, Diabate that are giving you high 20s, and then, everybody else pitching in 15 minutes a game. But like I said, shouts out to them 3 guys. They definitely had a ball game. Mo had a steady game, 8 points, 4 rebounds. Malachi 11 and 6. Yelovich 6 and 3. Just to note that. But overall, I think I just liked, my main thing was guys were just making better plays. And in the first half, I think at one point we were shooting like 76% from the floor. So guys was making good decisions. They were making shots. We did end up with 10 turnovers, but, it was just overall, I feel like, especially in the first half, guys was really locked in. They was really focused. And we shot 58% from the field and 50% from three-point. And, I don't know how many times we got to say it, but I'm probably going to point it out every single time. When Kentucky shoots 50 ball from 3, they usually, for something about it, when Mark Pope's system, they just, they get going, and we look a whole lot better. We had 16 assists along with that. I usually like to see us around 20 assists and 10 or less turnovers. But overall, like I said, good stats, good win at home against a ranked team. Let's get into some of these highlights though and see what we liked. Got some motion going on, like I said, and that's you know we didn't get the initial shot from Chandler, but that was a good set, some good motion, and it got Chandler a good shot. And I think what one of the things that they were saying that Mark Pope was pleased with Chandler is he said that Chandler's ability to shrug off when he makes mistakes or when he misses shots and lock back in and continue to play hard, continue to be focused, continue to be ready for the next play. And right now, see, is like the ball is moving, guys is cutting, and this is that type of motion right there. For some reason, earlier in the season, we wasn't getting a whole lot of that. And you see when guys is involved, guys is moving their feet, and we getting open looks. Obviously, Chandler is ready to shoot that three off of that motion. We got to do a better job of playing defense like that. I mean, it wasn't terrible defense, but we just got to be able to give a contest at the end. And there's Aberdeen with the penetration and the kick to Chandler. And like I said, I just love it that these guys are moving the ball, getting each other involved. Transition, they've always been good in transition, but they just, they got to play in order to get those type of defense to offensive possessions. You got to sit down in the chair. You got to make a defensive play. So, shouts out to Ortega right there for getting out in transition, getting that easy dunk. See, I would like to see Yelovich get up a little bit closer. Like, I know you don't want to give your man too much room to go around you right there, but just a little, like one step closer so you could have had a better contest, and I'd have been cool with that. And here's everybody, like I said, just moving the ball. And Yelovich is one of those guys, I think he has potential to be a good shooter. Like, he's probably still getting comfortable too because he hasn't played a whole lot, but as the season has progressed, with the injuries and things, he's started to get more minutes because he does have some potential offensively. But like I said, he's got to get better defensively. He's got to get stronger. He's got to be able to hold his position more. And, that was just a breakdown. Overall, it wasn't terrible defense, but we got to have guys crash the basket to support. And we got to have help defenders ready to step in. Nice little pull-up jumper from Ortega. And like I said, I like Ortega inside the line. I think that's where he does his best work, whether it be all the way at the rim or in the mid-range. That was a nice play right there. I ain't going to lie to you. That was a nice play. Then here we go, getting out in transition. That wasn't a terrible possession. We might have could have waited instead of rushing that three, but I wasn't mad at that necessarily. See, right there, I feel like there we go. We got to Yelovich did as good of a job as he could right there, but I feel like we got to protect him a little bit better, get him out of that matchup a little bit. And that was a good. See, right there, I liked what Aberdeen did. He kind of held his defender in place a little bit and then kicked it. And that one little second that he hesitated might have been the difference between how good of a look Chandler got. So, like I said, I just like that we seem to be making better basketball IQ plays. And see right there, that's that's just we gotta get stronger. We gotta get more physical. And then, like I said, defense to offense, man. That started with Mo. tapping that ball away, and then we getting out and running, and guys knowing where other players are going to be and making the right play. We see right there. I feel like we just gotta help a little bit quicker. Um, Good drive by Denzel, but yeah, we just gotta be there a little bit sooner. Excuse me. I'm a little bit under the weather, so if I sound crazy, that's why I've been a little bit sick. But yeah, like we just gotta get there a little bit faster to try to make the offensive player have to adjust. The idea was right, but just the reaction was just a little too slow. Vanderbilt's doing a whole lot of one-on-one. Good anticipation by Oweh. Like I said, Vanderbilt is kind of crazy because the way that Vanderbilt was playing a lot in this game, one-on-one, that's how we were playing in the beginning of the season when we was losing a lot of games. It was just guys just forcing and not making the defense work, not making the defense adjust. And you see when they do a little bit less one-on-one, Vandy's offense looked a little bit better. But that's how we was playing a lot. And when we move the ball and stuff like that, we just look a whole lot better. Like, there's guys on our team that's capable of making some one-on-one plays, of course. But, and man, I think if we get a real true point guard for next year and Jasper gets a little bit stronger, he's going to have a year of experience under his belt. That's a nice bailout shot by Aberdeen. But I think with him just with some more strength and him getting to play off the ball, I think Jasper will turn into a capable scorer. I just hope that he stays at Kentucky to develop. Like, I would hate to see him transfer, go somewhere else, and then flourish. Because I hope that, we get to see the best of him at Kentucky. Because I do think eventually Jasper is going to be in the NBA, but I just think he's just got to develop physically, and he's got to get used to what I would say being locked in on every single possession. And right there, Ortega just he kind of got bailed out, but he ended up making the right play. But I think, if I remember correctly, the play before that, he had a turnover doing something similar. So we just got to make sure that and see right there, they just Yelovich got to be a little bit more physical. Like, you got to, when somebody's in the paint, you have to put hands on them. You got to push them a little bit. You got to bump them. You just got to try to knock them off their spot. Shot by Oweh Chandler right there. But yeah, you got to knock them off their spot when they get in the middle so that they don't catch the ball right underneath the basket. And we just got lost right there. And see, that's one of those moments where if you in a close game, that can hurt you when you have those type of possessions, and we got to limit those. That was a nice play, and Ortega wanted to foul, but yeah, it was a nice play, and it was a nice decision for him, I think, to go towards the basket instead of just trying to tip it or catch it and just lob it up real quick. He waited, got the shot that he wanted. And then they said, right there, that was a good play. Some, some good pick and roll stuff. Let Aberdeen walk into his three. And Aberdeen is one of them streaky scorers, man. When he gets going, he's going to be able to get you some buckets. He's a rhythm type player. But like I said, we gotta be better on defense, and we gotta limit those mistakes. And see, right here, I just would have liked for him to have not made that pass to Malachi that high up, because I feel like you put Malachi in a position where he got to try to make ball handling plays pretty much at the three-point line. And to me, that's a play that I would want Denzel to recognize exactly who he's passing to and where he's passing to him. And that's just that's a heat check shot. Oweh Chandler just he's feeling it. His confidence is high, and he don't have no problem letting it fly. But yeah, I would like for Denzel to be more aware of who he's passing it to and where at on the court. And as a point guard, you got to try to put people in the position to get easy plays. You know what I mean? That's your job, to make it easier for them. So right there, it's not going to be as easy of a possession. And that he just made a play right there. It wasn't necessarily terrible defense. He just made a good play. But yeah, you got to put your players in a position where they can do the things that they do well easier. That's, and that was just that's just one of them shots where just, that's just a good shot maker. Sometimes it just ain't nothing you can do. Players are just capable of doing that. That was good defense, man. I can't really be mad at that. We didn't have nobody at the basket to contest, but that was really good defense, and that was a great finish at the rim by Mo. That's Ortega just using his strength, man. And it's possible he could have got the call right there, but he went so strong that he was going to finish no matter what. And that's a high IQ play by Chandler right there. Like, you get around, you get the defender on your back, and then you just slowly drag him to the basket to the point where if he speeds up too much, he's going to fall on top of your back and get a foul. And if not, you're going to be in front of him, and you're going to force somebody to either commit or give you the basket. And that's what happened. He got the basket. And that was a good play by Moreno. And like I said, I felt like I would have had probably, and see, that's a tough pass right there. When you doing the cross court passes, those are just always tough passes, and you want to try to limit the cross court pass as much as you can unless it's wide open. If it's any, you know what I'm saying, defenders that's in the area, you gotta be real careful with that one. Yeah, that guy can shoot, man. So you gotta really be in your defensive bag. You gotta watch him. But overall, like I said, man, good win for us. We played outstanding in the first half, and we followed it up with a good second half. But I like this game. This is the momentum that we need going into March. We do got some areas that we still need to clean up. We do got some areas that we still have to get better at, obviously. But I like some of the things that we were doing. We have some things we can build on. I love that guys were trying to be more careful with the ball, except for, obviously we pointed out some of those situations where, they took some risks that was a little unnecessary. But overall, I loved what they was doing as far as moving the ball. They was getting some motion going, getting some guys some easy looks, and they had some turnovers that was resulting into offense. So defense to offense, and low turnovers. I liked what I seen. Like I said, good win against the number 25 ranked team in the country. We owed them one from what they did to us earlier in the season. So you guys let me know what you think about it in the comments. Are you excited about how we played today, and how do you think we're going to finish the season? And we'll get back at it next time. Sports and Discourse with your host, Derek Stevenson.